Whether you're familiar with Resident Evil or not, you will definitely want to check this out. Resident Evil 4 is a remake of the original 2005 release on the GameCube. There has obviously been a lot of work done. The game was gorgeous. You can check out my playthrough here. But first, stick around and allow me to walk you through what this game has to offer and where it belongs on my bar.
The training, punishing missions, nearly killed me.
After surviving a terrible zombie outbreak in Raccoon City, Resident Evil 2, Leon has been training with the military and became one of the president's top agents. Recently, the president's daughter has gone missing, and he has tasked Leon with retrieving her. Upon arriving in a small European village, Leon is met with hostile locals trying to murder him, and terrifying monsters trying to rip him apart. He has to use everything he's learned over the years to not only save his target, but survive the never-ending waves of enemies trying to stop him. I don't think there's a single Resident Evil game out there that would be appropriate for kids. I mean, I played through the entire first one when I was maybe 9. But the graphics show so much more now than they ever have. There is a lot of cursing, blood is everywhere, and some pretty freaky baddies that are definite nightmare fuel for the right kid. Resident Evil 4 was the first in the Resident Evil series to bring in more action-like gameplay, and the remake is just as good, if not better, than the original. The basic idea is moving through a variety of areas, killing enemies by any means necessary with things like guns, melee attacks, even explodey barrels every now and again, with some puzzles thrown in here and there. Not terribly difficult. An important clue to the solution is usually nearby any puzzle. Resident Evil 4 has quite the variety of gameplay. Starting out, Leon is only equipped with a pistol and a combat knife. Enough to get by, but no way to go through the entire game. Throughout, Leon will find new weapons, either on the ground or purchased from the friendly merchant. But it was always important to keep the handgun close by, because handgun ammo was the most common ammo. Certain ammo could be hard to come by when it's most needed, so keeping a couple gun types to fight with was a very good idea. There was a nice weapon wheel to change out equipment on the fly. It handled quite well, and I was impressed with how smoothly I could swap my weapons out. Frag grenades and flash bombs could go there too. You would be pretty hard pressed to fill out the entire wheel. There's only so much space in Leon's cache. A suitcase, hidden somewhere on his body where everything gets stored. Probably the most difficult part of the game would be inventory control. Leon has a cache that he puts everything in, except treasures and keys. So between guns, ammo, and heals, trying to make enough room for everything is almost its own never-ending minigame. Thankfully, there is an auto sort button that organizes everything nice and tidy, so there is no wasted space. I could also organize manually if I wanted, turning things sideways to make just enough room to add that one green herb I really, really wanted to pick up. Another mechanic that helped was crafting. Herbs could be combined, making for a stronger heal. Gunpowder could be mixed with small or large resources to make different ammo or throwables. The merchant I mentioned earlier is the most important character in the entire game. Always accompanied by a typewriter, the only way to save the game. He will sell new weapons and blueprints, buy everything Leon finds from treasure to fish. He also upgrades equipment, amping the damage a gun does, how fast it can reload, and shooting speeds. He is also willing to buy guns. An upgraded gun will be worth almost as much as what has been put into it. so I wasn't really wasting money upgrading a gun I ended up replacing or not using, as long as I sold it. And if going through the main story, killing everything wasn't enough, the merchant provides side quests. He'll post a notice asking Leon to kill some rats or destroy blue medallions, rewarding him with spinels. Small jewels the merchant will trade the more special items for, like a treasure map showing the location of every treasure, or different parts for guns to increase their attributes.
You don't.
One thing that really bugged me was the combat knife. I loved most of the new mechanics involved, like slash or stab attack. I could even parry incoming attacks if I timed it right, but the knife now has durability. The durability can be repaired and increased, but nothing's worse than needing my knife and it's a useless broken thing in my inventory. There are kitchen knives strewn about that can be picked up and used in a pinch, but they aren't near as effective as an upgraded combat knife. Sometimes it's much better to knife an enemy to death instead of wasting ammo on it. Well, it used to be. Now that it actually costs money for the upkeep of a knife, it may be much better using some handgun ammo instead. Combat was a lot of fun. Most enemies have different weak points to attack. I usually go for the head, but sometimes it's better to shoot a kneecap to stun an enemy, leaving them open for Leon to run in with a roundhouse kick, knocking all surrounding enemies down. It's an excellent tactic to get some breathing room. There is also a stealth option. It's not necessary in any part of the game, but I really like to sneak up and take out an enemy in one hit instead of shooting them a lot. But again, that also used some of my knife's durability. It's a real catch-22. After the credits roll, there is a lot more to the game. A harder difficulty is unlocked, all of the money and equipment from the previous playthrough are brought over, some different clothes can be obtained for Leon, and some amazing guns are available, if you can complete some tasks. You definitely have to earn the more powerful items in the game, but if you enjoy the game enough, you can play through multiple times, saving up to buy them or earn others by completing challenges. Challenges are available from the start. You can check them out from the title screen and spend the CP awarded on various items in the bonus shop. That is where you can see what needs to be done and what possible rewards there are. From CP to actually items, it's worth checking out. Added challenges to accomplish during the actual playthrough was pretty cool. Most of them are obtained by just playing the game, but some involve a more complicated way to play the game.
Give me a break already. Okay, it's game time.
I could almost make an entire video talking about all the major differences, but instead I thought I would just fit it all in here. There may be some minor spoilers in this section, so you might skip ahead to my rating, or stick around and feed your curiosity. I covered a couple differences in the review, like the merchant dealing in spinels now instead of them being cheap gems sold for pesetas, and the new knife mechanics used to only be slash, and when Leon finds breakable boxes, an action button shows. He just kicks or elbows them now. No need to try and aim the knife perfect to break things. I really like that they have done away with having to worry about a health bar for Ashley. Instead, when she takes a hit, she goes to the ground. If she gets hit one more time, that's game over. I didn't like deciding who would get my precious yellow herbs in the original, and having to waste my damn heals on her. New enemies have been added to the game, and they seem to have added a couple more models for enemies, but not many. What they have still gets reused a lot. But that's kind of charming in its own way. A remake of an older game forced to reuse assets, so they do the same in the remake. They've also added an autosave, so if some terrible mistake was made, I didn't always end up at my last save. An interesting addition to Resident Evil 4 would be Leon's cache. The basic case would increase the drop rate of handgun ammo by 30%, and new cases could be purchased from the merchant with different buffs. If that wasn't enough, they added charms that could be attached. The charms did things like increased healing from herbs or making upgrades cheaper. To get the charms, I had to play around in the shooting range. That has been changed up a bit now too. Instead of shooting wood cutouts of villagers, it's now pirates. Why? I don't know, shooting pirates is fun? Anyway, the rewards are tokens used in a gacha-like machine that spits out random charms for the cash. And that about covers it for the big changes that I noticed anyway. Minor changes to the story, but it's still the same. Leon's one-liners are a little different, but still cheesy. Ashley didn't seem to be quite as annoying as I remember, so that's a plus. As of right now, there was no mercenary option after I beat the game, but I believe it should be coming soon. No word on separate ways with Ada, though. It would be nice to play her side of the story in the remake, but we may just have to wait for a DLC in the future. I had a lot of fun playing this. It was an excellent remake of an excellent game. Not quite as scary as other Resident Evil titles. It did have its jump scares and startling spots, but I didn't feel on edge the entire time like previous games. I like the idea of working through the game multiple times, getting better items, making it easier to take on harder enemies. The rewards feel well earned and worth it. And all of that available with the base game. Now, I'm not the biggest Resident Evil fan, but this was a blast. I'm throwing this bad boy on the top shelf. It definitely earned that spot with how well everything came together. I'm tempted to play through some more in my spare time. I would suggest you give it a shot. It's worth it. Well, now that I'm done with this, time to move on to the next one. I will see you there. Bye!